Hello, everyone. Is this thing on? We haven't been here in so long, I feel like, at this point. What's it been, 2 weeks off now?
Yeah, it's been something like that.
Well, anyway, welcome back, everyone. We're back doing Film Session live here on Saturday, 6 o'clock Eastern. Love to see it. This time, we're doing Spencer Brown, Bills' third-round draft pick is who we're going to look at today. This is one that I was kind of excited about. There's been a lot of hype around Spencer Brown. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of saying a lot of things about him. It's people are like, oh, we can get rid of a tackle and it's okay, or he can swing tackle. So I was excited to see this one, more so maybe than some of the other guys after him. So this is, I thought this one was pretty fun. How'd you like going about this one?
I definitely thought it was fun. I was expecting a little bit more only because of like everything I've heard about his athleticism and stuff like that. And especially the plays like Casey talks about, all those plays where you see him like out in space and he's just making plays like almost a tight end would, just like meeting people at the second and even third level of the field, making blocks. So I didn't see a lot of that in my game specifically, but I definitely see that athleticism. So I understand why people are excited about it. And I myself am also excited about having him on the team. But I didn't see those plays just in my game specifically. So I'm probably going to jump into his tape, just like the ones that we didn't see. We only obviously jumped into 2 games. So I'm definitely going to try and find some of those plays outside of just the 2 games that we broke down, but there's definitely a lot to gather from the games that we broke down.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the name of the game with Spencer Brown is potential.
Yeah.
And it's, when I went and looked at the film, I was pretty disappointed because he's been hyped up so much and everyone's talking all this big game about him. And he was kind of unimpressive to me when I went and actually watched. I kept on waiting for those big sparks and those moments where he really kind of, shows off that ability. But for me, there were times when he made some nice plays, but there was an equal, if not more amount of head scratchers or technique blunders and things like that I was a little worried about in seeing. So as far as like kind of my general notes on him, he's big and athletic. He's a big guy. He's long and tall, and he does have some nasty to him, which I did like, and I think that's kind of what Casey saw. But there's a lot of negative things, and we're going to see them all in both of our film. And he can get lost on run blocks. He can be better with his chip blocks and help blocks, and then losing to the inside is a really big issue for him.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to see how that offensive line coach and how that coaching staff decides to tackle how to handle those issues that he's got, because it was a note that I had already had written down, and then I watched yours, and I was like, oh, so this just didn't just happen in my game.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. It's a trend.
Yeah. But I went back and I watched another full game, just because I wanted to make sure that what I was seeing wasn't a fluke or anything like that. Right. And we can talk a little bit more about that later after we go through and watch everything, and then talk about some of the things that we saw outside of the plays that we decided to put in here.
For sure.
Any other thoughts that you guys have or that you have here, kind of before we jump into things, just general thoughts about him?
No, not really. I mean, you really touched all the main points that I wanted to bring up beforehand. And name of the game with him is definitely potential. Like this dude really is a ball of clay. Like he really, no pun intended there, Clay. No, but he really has a huge upside. And it's not like all these bad things that we are mentioning about him right now are really going to hinder him from even making an impact in the NFL. But it's just coachable things. Like, he's going into his rookie year. Every rookie has things that they need to be coached up on. So I'm not like concerned about him at the next level, but I obviously am here to acknowledge that he has areas that he needs to improve. So I can't wait for training camp. I can't wait to see like those little nuances to his game that we just haven't seen literally since 2019. I'm sure there's only like a few clips here and there of his stuff with Joe Staley. So yeah, let's get into it, and let's share with the people what we think about Spencer Brown.
Absolutely, yeah. And before we jump into it, just want to say hi to some people who got in chat here. Don Keith, we're here for you. Don't have to worry about it. We're here for your entertainment. Thank you for joining us. We got D Handsome in here. Sup, guys? How's it going, man? Thank you for joining. We appreciate it.
I believe D Handsome got himself the signed Josh Allen jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won that. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right, now let's jump right into it. Chris S, I see we got in here as well. Father Snowman. We got some interesting names up in here today so far. But let's jump right into this one. And this is the game that I did. So I wanted to find a game where he was facing pretty good talent. You know, it's when you're a small school, small D1 school. I wanted to make sure we could see what we were doing. So North Dakota State was my choice here. Game. This was about mid-season. So let's jump right into it, I guess, and let's see what he's got here. So on this first play, it's nothing terrible. I mean, it's pretty average play. I mean, he takes a good first couple of steps, then I like that. My one criticism for him on this play is he just gets a little bit too deep. On his steps here, and then when he tries to, it's almost like a speed to power from that end there. And when he gets in and kind of cuts in for that power, he's just not ready for it. So that was kind of my biggest criticism on this one. It wasn't something that was terrible. And like I said, it started out really well. He just needs to kind of be prepared if that guy's going to cut inside, that he has to anchor and be ready to defend that.
Yeah, I mean, we said it earlier, really just him getting beat on the inside. Like, that's my biggest gripe with him. And I think most of it comes with positioning. The dude is so mobile. He gets outside so quickly. Like, he just pass sets so hard to his outside shoulder where he makes it so susceptible to getting beat on the inside. So that's my biggest gripe with this play, but it shows how mobile he is at 6'9", like 315, 20 pounds, whatever he is. That's really my only gripe. It's just like, dude, you are so mobile. You don't need to beat people to the outside. You almost need to bait people to go outside on you, because you can meet anyone and make sure that they can't corner that edge around you because you're just so athletic. So I'd like to see him be a little bit more aware of his positioning, because he really isn't threatened so much by his outside shoulder as much as he is on his inside shoulder. And this is just play one, so we'll definitely speak on this again.
Right, yeah. And I think pad level here too, maybe a little bit of a concern. He's a little high. He's definitely losing the leverage battle over there. So that's something that when you're a tall guy, you got to worry about a little bit as well.
Right.
So this play, this is a good rep, in my opinion. I really like this one. This is something that I actually saw pretty frequently from him. And you can see right now he's got his hand up, he's pointing around, and he's calling out the blitz here. And I think his recognition was really good, actually. Throughout both of the games that I watched, I was really impressed with his ability to see who was blitzing and where they were blitzing from. And this is one of those situations where he points the guy out, he sees it's coming, and then the defensive end actually ends up dropping off, and then he comes inside and takes that blitzer that he was pointing at anyway. So I thought this was a good play, and I thought that was kind of something cool. See a little bit of the mental aspect there.
Yeah, no, 100%. This play just screams awareness. Like, this is great to see, especially from someone who's playing at not the highest level of college football. Like, this is nice to see. This shows that he has a bit of coachability to him. If he's going to be aware of these kind of little idiosyncrasies to the game, then it seems like he's going to be a quick-ish learner. But yeah, I just really liked how you can visibly see him pointing out the blitz call pre-snap. And then obviously he's quick to actually physically make up for the defensive end, who you would assume is coming as well on the pass rush, who just drops into coverage. And he's quick to just kind of swap his assignment right there. So yeah, this play just screams awareness. I guess before we'll move on, we'll let Josh know. Rico's in the middle of like a move, I'm pretty sure. So he's been out of commission right now. He's been trying to reconnect with Bills Mafia on Twitter as much as he can and interact with people as much as he can through Twitter. But I don't think he's quite got the time with a move going on right now. So it's pretty understandable from Rico's behalf. But he should be back shortly. I think he'll be back next week. I'm not sure, but I think he'll be back next week. Yeah,
don't worry. You don't have to deal with Landers too much longer. Just kidding, Jeff. Just kidding. Yeah, Dawn, thank you for in the chat answering that one as well. She's on top of things in here. We appreciate that.
Sure is.
Anyway, moving on here. This is another one where it's kind of a deal where half the play looked good. And then I wanted a little bit more out of the rest of it. And it's a good start here. He's got good hands and everything. And then he just loses inside again. Kind of like that first play where he's engaging well. His feet are moving well. And then when he cuts back inside, he just kind of loses that power and that leverage. And right now he's causing a pressure and a heated pass here. That's not a clean pocket to throw out of. So he's got to make sure that he's taking care of his guy out there on the outside. I was pretty disappointed in this play, mostly just because right now I'd love him to just drive him straight across, the front of the pocket. I think that's something that he really needs to get a little better at, is using the defensive end's momentum against him. And he's kind of trying to still, at this point here, he's still trying to just hold him back and keep him in the same position when that guy's got good leverage and the momentum going in the other way. So right now is the perfect time to just drive forward, and you can probably get a pancake block if you can catch him off balance a little bit and surprise him with that change in momentum. So that was something that I would have liked to see on this one. But overall, it was a decent start. He just needs to be able to keep that block going.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I didn't look at it in that kind of lens where you're saying use the momentum against the defender, but you're absolutely right. The way I saw it was more, I wish he just kind of sealed him off from the inside, because he had his, Spencer Brown had his shoulders squared to the point where he could keep him outside, and then he just kind of gets beat again on the inside. If he seals off and gets almost like perpendicular to the yard lines, like that dude's just not getting around him on the inside, and it's going to take a long looping motion from the pass rusher to get around him on the outside shoulder. So I would have liked to see him get a little bit more perpendicular to the yard lines and just seal him off from the quarterback. In my opinion, it was a nice initial pass set. He had good positioning, but I want to see him like play through the whistle. I want to see him really just play this rep until it's over, because it almost seemed like he was complacent and he felt like he won that rep already until he didn't. Also, I think the quarterback probably could have got rid of the ball a little bit sooner. He held on to it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a guy. I think he's got a guy that he could have thrown to. There's a defender that fell down. I'd be throwing it right now if I were him. And he waits maybe a little bit too long to throw that route, because I think his guy was pretty open there. But the quarterback definitely, it's tough playing with a guy who maybe hangs onto the ball a little bit longer. But you're one-on-one on an island with your defensive end. I want to see you win that, especially out here in a lower class of football. Really, you're not playing with those DNs that are getting picked, first and second round guys like the Bills are picking. So, I'd like to see maybe a little bit more. And to your point, sealing him off. I mean, his momentum's going upfield right now. Take him upfield. And then when he cuts back in, it's going infield. Take him infield, So I think that's something where he'll be able to learn that. That's a teachable thing. So hopefully it doesn't hinder him too much in the future here.
Agreed.
This one is just a good rep. Which this is one of those plays where it's like, okay, I get it. I get where the hype is now and why people are excited about him. This is just a really solid rep from him. Right from the start, he gets a decent leverage. His pad level's good, and he just gets up and under and throws the guy down. He throws him right into another defender. So he's really taken out two guys here with one block. So this was definitely one of those things where it's like, okay, I get where that excitement comes from, because if he can get his leverage like that and use his size and strength to his advantage, these are the kind of plays that he can make.
Yeah, that pad level is nice and low for someone who's 6'9". That was excellent work on that play. Really, I loved him on all the run blocking reps I saw. I know you said earlier in the intro that you felt like he kind of got lost sometimes in the shuffle a little bit in run blocking. I didn't see it at all, frankly, in my game. They were actually down a fair amount of that game, so they didn't get a whole lot of opportunities to run the football. So I might be a little bit jaded by game script for the game that I watched, but I did like him on most, if not all of the run blocking reps I saw from him. And this is just another one. Really, my only gripe with this play is I think maybe in the NFL he could get called for like holding because he has some wide hand placement there, but it's such a stretch to say he's going to get called for holding on something like that. Really, other than that, it's a great play. Taking out two players with one block is always nice. You're always going to love that, and it just creates another opportunity for the running back. Obviously, the rest of the team just didn't hold up their end of the bargain, and the running back was just swallowed immediately. So it is what it is, but he did his 111th, and that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was pretty impressive. So I get it. I get the hype. But you know, we're gonna take a look at the rest of the plays too here. So play 5 here. I thought this one was interesting. I put this one in just because it's an interesting angle of attack, and I don't know if this is coached up. I don't know if this is how he's taught to do it, but he's not doing a regular pass drop. It could have been an RPO play. The run fake didn't really sell that much for me. Could have just been an early decision by the quarterback to keep those. So I'm not positive, but the whole offensive line is moving back as if this is a pass block. Maybe they're just getting driven back. I don't know. But I just thought this was an interesting angle of attack. Instead of taking that drop step, he kind of goes out and plays the defender a little bit more aggressively, which I don't have a problem with because he does a good job. He keeps his pad level low, engages well. He's got good hands, good balance. But then again, take him where he wants to go. He's trying to go upfield, keep his momentum that way. Take your left hand, shove it into his shoulder pad, and drive him all the way into the parking lot. And that's something that he's going to have to learn to do, because if he takes him back 2 more yards, that's a little bit less pressure in the quarterback's face.
Right.
It's a bigger window to throw through. But instead, he's kind of getting in the quarterback's way. Although I will say the quarterback kind of maybe drifted a little bit too far out of where the pocket should have been anyway. So
yeah. I definitely agree with you on like the initial pass set. It was definitely a little peculiar from your conventional pass set. But I will say I like that he did it because it seemed like it was a wide 9 alignment by the defense. And my concern with him is that he gets a little bit wide in his pass set. And instead of just getting wide, he kind of went up the field with him. Instead of like waiting for the defender to come to him, he went and took a step towards the defender and got wide, kind of reduced that angle that inside move can be taken. So I liked that he met the defender at the point of attack instead of letting the point of attack come to him. And I mean, with someone with that kind of strength, mobility, tenacity, all of that, I want him to go seek contact instead of let contact come to him. So obviously I don't want that all the time because that will get him out of position more than it will keep him in position. But this is one of those circumstances where you're being tested as an offensive tackle when you see a defensive end in a wide 9 alignment. They're really putting you in a bind, and they're trying to make you really make a decision that's going to put you and your quarterback in danger. And he really met the expectations on that play.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That is a super wide 9. So yeah, I mean, if that was just his decision there to go and play like that, then I'm fine with it because he did a good job of it, and good point on the athleticism there as well. This next one here. This is something that he's able to do pretty easily here is pull. I would just like to maybe have him block somebody afterward. It's a very athletic pull. He gets away quick. I mean, right now this looks like could be a pretty good play. You've got one lineman here about to block this linebacker. You've got him ready to hit him, and nothing really works out the way that it looks like it could have at the beginning of that play there. Kind of a whiff block there, but I think you might have put a pull in yours as well, where he does a better job at actually hitting somebody. So, but it was cool to kind of see the athleticism and his ability to pull. I mean, I'd like to see more of maybe a drop step because he kind of just springs out of it. I'd rather see him take that left foot and do a little more of a drop step to pull. So I'm not really sure how that's coached up, but the footwork was a little bit weird. But I mean, when you're that athletic, I guess do what you can. Because he got there on time. He just he ended up just missing his guy. So, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a mixed bag here because you love to see that kind of mobility. Like that's probably the fastest I've seen a right tackle pull around to the left edge in my entire life. It's pretty impressive how fast he got there. I almost wish he got there a little bit slower because I feel like it puts the defenders on the second level in more of a bind if you don't know exactly who he's going to block. If he gets there too quickly, then you know you're the free man and you're going to go get the running back. And then the running back can kind of base his play based on where Brown really picks his point of attack. Yeah, but really this play comes down to like, why didn't he hit the linebacker? Like, I can't tell if it's like a play design thing where he's supposed to like bluff the outside shoulder from that linebacker and then get to the next level. But like, that seems so counterintuitive. So I would rather him just blow up that linebacker on the second level. But yeah, no, really the point is here, like, that's such a mental mistake thing. Like, that's something he can overcome like easily. Next play, he sees this in film and he's just like, okay, that was just idiotic. Like, I gotta be better next time. And then he fixes it next time. Like, that's not a mistake you make twice. That's just so obvious on tape. But yeah, the thing to get excited about is really just his mobility and the multiple ways that he can be used as a right tackle, because I don't see Darrell Williams being used in that way. Like, Darrell Williams is more of a statue at right tackle. Like, he is going to win you your pass blocking reps, and he's not going to be a liability in run blocking, but like, he's just going to stick to his zone, and he's not really going to like go be a mauler in run blocking, in my opinion. Even with his prior plays at guard, I see Spencer Brown as more of a balanced right tackle that can do both run and pass blocking above average.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's a good point. And it's, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how they use him. Because if we're in the red zone and we want to throw an extra tight end an extra tackle in there, maybe he sees the field and then, they can do something cool like this and pull him to the other side and run some kind of power play that we haven't really been able to see before. When we did, it was, Tyler Croft's the lead blocker or Lee Smith is the lead blocker. Lee Smith's a good blocker, but I think, Spencer Brown's kind of just like a bigger, better blocker version of that. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to see if they use him in situations like that too. Play 7 here. This one is another one where he needs to play to the whistle. I was really upset with this one because he's doing fine. He's blocking his guy just fine, and then he just kind of gives up at a certain point after I don't know if he thinks the play's over or something, but he's got to keep playing there. He's got to stick to it. The guy who he lets go ends up being part of the tackle, and sure, it looked like a pretty darn broken play to begin with anyway. But I still want to see him play to the whistle. I want to see him fighting until he can't anymore. So that was kind of my biggest gripe on that one.
Yeah, he definitely wins at the point of attack. He doesn't really get pushed back. He maintains that line of scrimmage, but like you said, he just doesn't play through the whistle. Like, I understand the excuse here is 100% like it's a broken play. Like, he's probably expecting this play to, the ball's either out of the quarterback's hands. I mean, let's not forget, this is the first play out of halftime. Like, this is probably a scripted play. Like, he knows what's going to happen. This is a quick RPO, dump it off to a slant kind of thing, whatever it may be. And he's probably not expecting the quarterback to have to keep it like this. He's expecting it to be a quick, either hand it off to the running back and his job is over, or a RPO, quick pull it out of the running back's stomach, and you just toss it to your quick screen, whatever quick pass it is. And yeah, you see the bubble at the top of the screen, but it's just a broken play. It's just a broken play, and he's probably not expecting it to take as long as it did to develop, and obviously, mid-play audible as they did. But it's still just not an excuse to not play through the whistle. That's me really doing the best I can to give him an excuse. But at the end of the day, you have to block your guy through the whistle. You can't just give up because you think this is going to happen. Like, things change in the NFL. No matter what you see pre-snap, it doesn't mean that's going to happen through the snap. So you got to play through the whistle, and that's definitely one of my bigger concerns through the tape, especially this game. Honestly, I didn't see it a whole lot in my game against James Madison, but it happened a fair share in this game for sure.
Yeah, the other game that I watched too, I didn't see as much of this, so that was good. But yeah, definitely kind of strange that he just kind of let that one go a little bit. This play I was happy with, though, because we've talked about it a couple times in using the guy's momentum, and he finally does it here, and it pays off, and he gets a nice little pancake block for the highlight reel. He right away, pretty good first step, gets back and is ready, engages, when that DN comes at him, and then when he wants to go upfield, he takes him upfield and he drives him into the turf. And that's exactly what you want to see. I want to see him do that every time someone tries to swim around on the outside on him like that. I want to see him drive him upfield like that. And when you've got that kind of size and length, if that guy's going low, drive him down into the turf just like he did here. So I was really happy with this one after being disappointed for a few reps earlier in the game.
Yeah, this goes back to what I was saying in play one. Like, I want him to maintain more neutral position, not try and overstep on his pass sets and get outside too quickly. I want him to stay more neutral because he's shown a tendency to get beat on the inside. If he stays closer to his right guard's outside shoulder, it doesn't have to be connected to that outside shoulder, but if he's just a little bit closer, he's taking away that pass rush lane from the pass rusher himself. And it's going to force him to go, the pass rusher to go on that outside shoulder. And I think Spencer Brown is mobile enough to make sure no one gets around that outside shoulder. So moving forward, I'd like to see him use that neutral positioning and bait players to go around that outside shoulder and then just bury them, because there's no chance anyone's getting around that outside shoulder of Spencer Brown. He's just too fleet of foot for his size and too strong at the same time. Long reach, all of those things combined, it's going to be hard to get around this dude. He's got to bait people to do it more and not let people go inside on him.
Yeah, honestly, that's something that I didn't even think of, where he's doing a better job of defending the inside. And I think you're right. He needs to be playing more inside out, because he's kind of playing outside in from the ones that we've seen in both of our games here. So, yeah, this is a good example of he's playing inside out, and it pays off because he can flip his hips like that and drive the guy upfield. So that's a really good point. That's something that I didn't catch.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's move on to play 9 here.
Right.
This is good recognition here again. It's a switch block, and this is another one where he kind of takes him upfield where he wants to go. But yeah, this is another one where I like where his head's at. He's recognizing that it's a switch very quickly and adjusting to the new guy that he's supposed to block. The speed at which he does it is really impressive. And then that guy wants to go low and try to go upfield around his outside shoulder, then yeah, sure, let's put him back down in the dirt and keep him down there. So another good play, and another one that I was excited to see, because this one combines that recognition with taking that guy where he wants to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar to that first time where you see the outside defensive end just kind of drop back into coverage after bluffing that pass rush. And he picks it up perfectly again. He's very aware of how the defense is trying to attack. The one caveat is, I mean, he had that right guard right next to him. Like, there really wasn't a lot of pressure on that side of the line of scrimmage. So it was a lot easier for them to protect on that side with only really one guy to take care of. But still, it's impressive to see that kind of awareness from someone who's playing in a lower level of college football. Like, if you have that kind of awareness, it bodes well for you moving up to the next level. So yeah, I like seeing that moving forward, because he has that athleticism. If you pair it with awareness and coachability, all those things together, it means sky's the limit. And obviously that's where we think this guy can go. Really, sky is the limit for him and his potential.
I agree. And that's kind of that example there where the mental aspects there, we just need to get that technique a little more solid throughout.
Yeah, it's about connecting the two together and refining it.
Right. This last play here, we're kind of circling all the way back. This is another one where great start. He looks like he's in a great position now. And then I think pad level is a little too high. He's just not really ready for the contact. And when that guy goes speed to power, he is just not prepared for it. He does an okay job of kind of recovering a little bit once he realizes what's going on. And he does kind of set his feet and protect his quarterback a little bit. But that's the quarterback still kind of looks a little squirrely back there. He's kind of throwing a fadeaway pass because I think he feels like he doesn't have much time to get the ball out, and really he doesn't. I mean, if that DN gets 1 foot closer and sticks his hand out, then it's a batted pass. So, it affects the throw when he's fading away. Now it's a much tighter window to throw into, and so it was just one of those. It's another small thing where it's like, well, what do you, he didn't get sacked. He didn't give up a sack. He stopped his guy, but where that pocket is matters, and especially at the NFL level here. Maybe not so much with Josh, so he's lucky with that respect. But got to make sure that that you're ready for that power in that situation. He kind of seemed like he was caught off guard.
Yeah, I definitely liked his pass set initially. Again, though, my one gripe is just like he gets outside so quickly.
Right.
He's just so mobile. He's so quick to get outside on that pass set. But luckily this time he, like you said, he recovered well. Like he acknowledged and recognized that there was a potential to see that move inside. And he made up for it very, very quickly. And he tried to anchor, but yeah, you can see he was just like a bit slow on that recovery. And yeah, the quarterback feels it. But I really did like how he's correcting mid-game. Like you can see him correcting for the mistakes of setting up too far outside and allowing an easy swim to the inside. This time it's more like it's a much smaller window for that pass rusher to go through. So he kind of has to bull rush through that inside shoulder instead of like swim around it because he doesn't have enough room. So I think it's better because he's correcting and you can see it happen mid-game. But it still needs refinement. It really does. And that's just another play to show I want him to play like you put so succinctly into words, outside in, or sorry, inside out.
Right.
Instead of outside in, because he's so fleet of foot. He's not going to get beat to the outside. He's got to bait people to go outside on him. Yeah,
I think that's a good way of putting it. And yeah, I like what you said about him learning mid-game too, because it's a lot like that first rep that we saw where he pretty much was kind of getting beat inside. But instead on that one, he was able to kind of to save himself a little bit there and at least keep the guy in front of him instead of having him kind of really get in the quarterback's face there. So yeah, that is a positive that we can pull from that for sure.
So I'm going to address a couple things that are in the chat. I know this is a topic for discussion. We see the Kingpin coming in with it quite a bit, especially the past couple months. Lone Wolf coming in. So are we ready to trade Darrell Williams and start Brown? Crazy idea I've seen from some. Yeah, judging from at least the first game that we just saw against North Dakota State, I'm not ready to say that. I'm not ready to say that. I love what Darrell Williams gave us last year. It's no reason to trade him, especially right after re-signing him this offseason. It just doesn't seem like it's in the cards. Could we do it next offseason? Maybe. But right now, it's too early. It doesn't make sense to trade someone that played at nearly an all-pro level at right tackle. He actually might have gotten an all-pro bid. But the point is, like, we're 1 year away from that being a possibility. I think Darrell Williams is safe on this squad. I think Spencer Brown has all the opportunities in the world to be that next man up that could force Darrell Williams to take a seat on the bench if he were to get injured or something like that. But that's the only scenario I really see Spencer Brown starting like right away if there's like a preseason injury to Darrell Williams, and I'm not wishing that on anyone. I'd rather see Spencer Brown slowly get developed into the starting offensive tackle instead of thrust into that role immediately. I think that time progressing and developing and really getting his feet under him with the NFL and what the speed is of the NFL, I think that will be very beneficial to him.
Yeah. I would say that it is crazy. It is a crazy idea. He's not ready. First of all, Spencer Brown's not ready to be thrown to the wolves like that, Lone Wolf. But I also am firmly in the boat that Darrell Williams is the best pass blocking tackle on the team right now. I love me some Deion Dawkins, and he's also playing very good football. But I do think that Darrell Williams has the edge on him in pass blocking right now. They didn't really run to Darrell Williams' side a lot. He wasn't really called upon to do a lot of run blocking last year. So I do think, Deion does a good job with that as well. But as far as pass blocking goes, Darrell Williams is my guy. I really like him. So I'm happy that he has the ability to sit and learn from a guy like that and from a guy like Deion Dawkins, who's a great leader and a great man. So I'm excited for that because I think that there's a lot he's going to be able to learn from it, but he's not ready yet. He's just not ready yet, and especially coming from a small school like that, it'd be too tough to throw him in this early, in my opinion, regardless of who he was working out with during his COVID year. So,
100%.
Yeah, and then I know Lone Wolf also asked when these highlights are from. These are from 2019. The 2020 season for I think that whole conference got delayed until like early this year. So he had already declared for the draft at that point, and he didn't participate in the 2020 season that happened this year.
And instead, as we saw, thank you, Barbarius Sloth, nice name. Trained with Joe Staley instead for the 2020 season. So, yeah, he had to take the year off, obviously, because of COVID, but he got some work in with a wonderful talent in Joe Staley, like one of the best tackles in probably our lifetime that played in the NFL. So definitely nice to see that he got some mental reps with Joe Staley over a year that he could have just been like sitting on the couch or doing his best to just make up drills on his own and stay in shape. So definitely did his due diligence to try and get ready for the next level. So definitely appreciate that from a self-starter like Spencer Brown himself.
Yeah, and that is pretty cool. I think that's, that if there's a guy you want to learn from, that's a good one. I'd say maybe Joe Thomas would probably be the only one that I would say would be a better option. Right. But
too busy with NFL Network.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, too busy. I mean, he's probably in similar shape to what Spencer Brown is right now. Neither of those guys seem to really have any body fat, which is pretty impressive for tackles. Those guys are in good shape. But yeah, so he's not ready yet, but we might get there. I think he's going to be a fun one to watch, at least for a little while. Yeah. Do you want to jump right into yours then?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it. Turn my page on the notes here. Alrighty.
All right, so for play one, it's very similar to that tendency that we've been talking about, him kind of setting up outside just a little bit too quickly. He's getting ahead of himself, and he's getting a little bit too anxious about being beat around that outside corner, and he very quickly gets countered on that. Like, you can see immediately he's going outside. His step is outside instead of depth. He's going width first, not depth. And because of that, the defensive end counters and swiftly goes right inside that shoulder, that inside shoulder, and gets in the backfield and creates a pressure, flushes the quarterback outside, and really there's no play to be made after that. But yeah, it's just that tendency again. It's like, dude, you got the outside shoulder, play inside out. You got it. Just be confident in that athleticism that you have. You don't need to be so anxious about losing around that outside shoulder.
Yeah, this is one. It was funny because I never know how you're going to react to someone's film after I watch my game. I don't know if he had a good game with you and a bad game with me. So the first play like this, I was like, oh, okay, he saw some flaws too. A bad false step to the outside. Guy goes right in. Whoever number 7 is on JMU, good on you. You must have been watching your film because he wasted no time taking that inside shoulder. He must have seen that was something that was open. So good for him for that. But Spencer Brown, man, you really broke that play instantly. So not great.
No, not great. And we'll move on to play 2 here because play 2 is the same. It's all in the same. Like, he's just doing that same thing, setting up outside so quickly. Like, he sets up very quickly outside. Obviously, on this one, it's fine because he has that right guard right there to make up for it. Like, there's no pass rush lane inside of him, so there's no reason for number 7 to swim inside of that inside shoulder again. There's just no pass rush lane. But on this one, it's more of just speaking to his mobility, his ability to get outside and maintain that shell of an offensive line and make sure that his quarterback is protected. And like you see, he's really giving up absolutely no ground. The issue with this is, once again, playing through the snap. Like, don't get your hands off the dude. Just keep driving him back. Keep driving him. Like you said, use the momentum and just push him upfield at that point. Because you do that, he's out of the play. But because he took his hands off of him and felt like, the quarterback's already made his play at this point, and he didn't, the guy who's blocking ends up making the play. So once again, you see that issue with playing through the whistle coming to fruition again. So, and this was their last game of the year too. So it's not something he fully corrected at that point. But I mean, that's something in the NFL, like they're going to drill home. Like they're going to drill home with him. Like he has to understand, and he has that nastiness to him. Like he just has to understand that he has to keep playing until Josh Allen is like in his sights. You know, it's like, okay, Josh Allen doesn't have the ball anymore. Cool. Like I can go downfield and make a block somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah, this was another one where he's got good speed, and I like his positioning better on this one in guarding that inside, because you can see there's a little bit of a head fake here by the defensive end, and he goes outside. Easy adjustment for Spencer Brown to make. He can go inside out super easily. But then this was another one for me where my instant thought was right here. You should be hips underneath you, hands in the middle of his shoulder pads, driving him into the parking lot, because he wanted so badly to just fly around you that way. So take him that way. That's where he wants to go. There's no reason to kind of sit around and just, make this pocket. Sure, your quarterback's a little squirrely and could have definitely hung out in that pocket for a few more seconds before trying to get out of there. But you didn't finish the block. The job's not done, as Kobe would say. So take that guy out of the play completely and drive him into the end zone. That was kind of the thing that made me most upset, is that right here, it's like, oh, you've got him. He's dead to rights right now. Take him out, take him completely out of that play. And he doesn't, he hesitates and waits, and he's kind of dancing with the guy. He's like, what are you going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Where he should really just be like, we're going over here. So that was kind of my thing with that one.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. He like the defensive end is going to react according to the quarterback. He's not just going to like independently make moves because, he's pre-snap made the idea, oh, I'm going outside and that's what I'm doing. No one's going to pass rush like that. You pass rush relative to what the offense is doing. And when you see the quarterback leave the pocket like that, you have to understand as a pass blocker that the defensive end is reacting relative to the quarterback. So you got to stick with him. Like there's a reason he's going back up to the 20-yard line instead of trying to keep going around that outside shoulder. So yeah, it's just got to play through the whistle, man. He's just got to play through the whistle.
Yep.
So with play 3 here, this is one I really liked his positioning on. Once again, you see that mobility, and really the issue here is just getting beat at the point of attack, but it's not like it's such a quick play, and it's really not much to get upset about, but you can see him get pushed back really quickly on that long arm. But it's great positioning. Like he's not giving up that outside shoulder. He's not letting up that inside shoulder as well. So it's really good positioning. It's really nice mobility on that pass set to get to that position. But really a lot of this game, and my gripes with this game in general, was one, the quarterback play. We've talked about it this whole time. Like this quarterback just doesn't feel safe in the pocket. And because of that, their offense is based on the running attack or quick strikes like this little shuttle screen. It's all based around the idea that we just got to get the ball out of this quarterback's hands as fast as possible. And because of that, we don't get to see a whole lot of what Spencer Brown can do. And it's kind of annoying, but you do see on this rep, there are times that he gets overwhelmed by the bull rush, and everything has to do with his pad level. Everything, when he gets overwhelmed by the bull rush, it's all about his pad level. And the fact that he's 6'9" and he has to be aware of how to play like he's 6'5". And it's going to be a learning curve, but once he really finds his groove, he's going to know how to play at his true size and how to utilize that length while playing at like a 6'5" kind of. It's all little minutiae, nuances to the game that he's just going to have to learn and hammer home and kind of just make muscle memory.
Yeah, this was one where it was another kind of thing where it's like, okay, initially didn't engage that well. His pad level was high, but he made a good adjustment with his hands, and he was using his hands here to kind of play with the rusher's arms a little bit, which I liked because I hadn't really seen too much of that before. So I liked what he was doing with his hands to adjust. He ended up getting his feet underneath him. And it's a design screenplay. He can give a little bit of space without any issues. So, and he knows that he's got a little bit of a cushion. So, I don't really have too much, to gripe with. Maybe if he's forward two more, the guy can swim around him. But it's not an amazing play. It's not a terrible play. I like the adjustment that he made, at least to make sure that he wasn't making kind of a big blunder here, and gives his quarterback enough time to get the ball off. So yeah, it was kind of a good and bad type of a situation for me.
Yeah, no, that's a good point on knowing the play call. Like, he can do that. He can kind of like bait the bull rush and just kind of eat it. No, that's a very good point. But moving on to play 4 here, it's more of the same with that getting beat inside, and it's really becoming an issue, especially just in the 2 games that we've shown you. I'm curious, actually, I'll ask you now. Did this happen in the last game that you watched when you watched your other game? Was he getting beaten? Yeah.
Yep, it did. And even, I didn't really show any where it was like at the line of scrimmage, he's getting beat on the inside, but it was something that I noticed a couple times in the games that I watch myself as well. So it is something to be on the lookout for and to be a little bit concerned about, I think, and making sure that he's got his weight and he's ready to defend the inside like that. But
yeah, because this is so similar to the first play of this game that I pulled, because it's like you're immediately getting width. You're immediately going right instead of going like diagonally back to your right. And if you do that, you still maintain that inside shoulder. But yeah, he just opens up a massive pass rush lane and just gets beat through it and almost gets a holding call because of it. So it's just annoying to see him continuously do that when he doesn't have to be so threatened by that outside shoulder. More than anything, as a fan now, obviously he's on the Buffalo Bills, so I am a fan and I am always going to be rooting for Spencer Brown. It's just annoying to see someone play lower than their potential when like even at his floor right now, he's not going to get beat around that outside shoulder. At his worst, he's not going to get beat around that outside shoulder. So use that strength, and he's just not using it.
Yeah, I'd agree. And, it's not a very wide 9 that the defensive end's playing, and he knows that he can do that inside swim move and get him. He saw it earlier in the game. So, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me. So he definitely would have been kicking himself after this one because he knew it was coming already. He'd seen it before, and, when you give those up, that's tough. That's super tough to kind of to stomach that one. But yeah. I'm hoping this one can get coached out because I think it is something where if he's able to think about it a little more instead of just being like, hey, time to block, then hopefully he can figure that out. It was a good speed rush, or it was a good rush too. It was a nice move. And like I said, that guy probably was studying his film and knew that inside shoulder was a weakness.
Yeah. I'll say 2 things on that. During like the broadcast buildup to this game, they were specifically keying on the James Madison edge rushers. So they are particularly good players on this defense. And then secondly, if we are noticing this issue with Spencer Brown, us two just amateur film scouts, if we're noticing this, the Bills know this. They know that this is an issue for Spencer Brown. If teams in the FCS, I believe it is, if they know that Spencer Brown is weak to his inside shoulder, like the Bills know that this is an area that he needs to improve. And offensive line coach Bobby Johnson is going to hammer it out. Like he's going to hammer this point home and make sure that Spencer Brown understands that he cannot give that inside track to the quarterback, because the fastest way to the quarterback is a straight line. And if you have to loop around the outside shoulder, it's going to take longer to get to the quarterback. So I have full faith that this is going to be a coaching point that he's going to understand sooner rather than later. It's just annoying to see it on tape so often. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so we'll move on to play 5 here, and it's another inside move attempt, but it's such a better recovery on it. Like he's not fully committing to that outside pass set, and he just kind of takes a quick, almost half step to his right instead of like a full step to his right. And because of that, he's able to recover, get 2 hands on the chest of the defensive end, and just, like you said, use the momentum against him. And he just flushes him to the inside, and he's out of the play at that point. So yeah, I really like the recovery on this one. And similarly to what I said before, the ability to learn mid-game and audible and adjust mid-game. And yeah, that's really what I liked most about this play.
Yeah, I mean, fool me 3 times. Fuck the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you, as J. Cole would say. So I'm glad that he was able to load the chopper here and actually get this one done. I think I'm hoping at this point in the game, he's like, I'm fed up with this dude coming in on my inside shoulder. I'm going to try to put him in the dirt. He almost does. He picked him up for a second there. I was really hoping he could kind of get him in dirt there. That would have been a nice little payback for the last couple of times that he got beat there. But yeah, it was nice to see him make that adjustment mid-game like that.
Yeah, 100%. So play 6 here, this was actually one of the better plays I saw from this game. And it was just a great pass set, you know, very neutral positioning like I've been preaching this whole time. You know, he's not like really committing to one side or the other. And on a 3rd and 17, like, you know that they're going to pin their ears back and they're going for the quarterback. They only send like a 3-man rush with kind of like a weird front. Looks like there's a spy and someone on the running back. But he absolutely handles his assignment. He does exactly what I want him to do, where he doesn't overcommit to that outside player, even despite like that might not be a wide 9 technique, but it's probably like a wide 7 at the very least. But yeah, he lets him go outside. He's very neutral in his positioning, lets him go to that outside shoulder, but he's not getting around that outside shoulder because of the strength, the length, and the mobility of Spencer Brown. And he maintains control of the block through the whistle and through the throw of the football. So this was one of the better pass block reps I saw in this game. One of the cleanest pass block reps I saw really in all of the film that we had. There weren't a lot of examples of this because of the quarterback, unfortunately. You know, it was like a very clean passing play in general. But yeah, I really like this rep. It was very sound. Like, this is something that should inspire people to see what he can become, because this was a very clean rep.
Yeah, I agree. This is pretty textbook. And you know, I'm really annoying about it. I would love for him to drive him upfield more, because it's anytime you have the opportunity to, I want to see you putting all your effort into doing that and just taking him out of the play completely. But he does do a pretty good job of it here, more so than in any of the reps that we saw in the game that I watched. So I was happy to see that he was doing it a little bit better. He had his hips facing upfield this time, and trying to get him around the pocket there and behind it. So I was very happy to see that. And yes, hands were good, maybe, you know, careful on a hold call, but I think he keeps himself in close enough and his shoulder around enough to get away with it there. So I was really happy with this one. I agree. I think this is one of the best reps, best pass blocking reps that we'll see from him. Yeah,
for sure. So we'll move on to play 7 here after one of the better reps, and it's similar because he's winning like at the point of attack. It's not like a very obvious clean rep, but it's a running rep, and he's just anchoring that point of attack. He's getting to the inside, he's sealing, and he's really not giving up any ground, and he's creating an obvious running lane, very obvious running lane on a 2nd and 4 when, I mean, I think they were like pretty much down and out of this game at this point, so the run probably wasn't expected, but there wasn't really like a great hole to be had, but, you know, Spencer Brown made the lane for him and they picked up the first down. So I really liked that run blocking rep because of his ability to seal off the defender and get inside of him quickly and square off his shoulders so he just can't get inside of him. Kind of like that earlier pass blocking rep where I was like, I want him to get perpendicular. I want his shoulders to be perpendicular to the yard lines. And he's damn close to it on this play. He's not quite there, but he's damn close to it. And because of that, it's a very, very clear running lane for the running back. So I like that run block rep.
Yeah, I like this one too. You know, he gets off pretty well. He engages well. You know, he's a tall guy. So in order to win the rep, sometime you gotta get the guy up to your height. And that's kind of what he does here. When he engages, he lifts the pads of the defender and tries to give himself the leverage advantage. So, yeah, I like this rep. I thought it was pretty good. It's never easy to kind of, even though he's kind of coming from the outside, it's still kind of a reach block, and those are tough blocks to get at any level. So, yeah, I was pretty pleased with this one. I think his first step could have maybe been a little bit better if his goal was to get inside.
Definitely.
Maybe a little bit more of an aggressive first step with the left foot, whereas he kind of side shuffles and waits.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe a little more aggressive if the goal is to seal him off like that. But a good adjustment using his strength and his size to make sure that he anchors and kind of gives a lane there. So
100%. And we'll double down on this play 7 here with play 8. It's another run blocking rep. And really on this one, although there's an initial double team on this play here, he's really showing that Mauling presence. He's really showing how he can push. This is a defensive tackle, push him into the second level. It would have been awesome if he could like almost disengage and get to actually someone on the second level, 24 right there. But this play is just dead to rights because of the rest of his teammates, unfortunately.
Right.
But it's really a great rep from him. You see him just drive and churn those legs and push that defensive tackle. Like, what is that, 5 yards back? I know there's a double team at the initial point of attack there, but it's impressive. It's impressive stuff. Like, this is why we say that he's got potential. This is why we're excited about it. And this is why it's great to see that we don't have to rush him into a starting role, because he has time to sit back, watch guys, veterans in front of him, and learn, be a sponge, and just get better to refine his game. Because when he is asked to start, I think he'll be a lot more ready in like a week 6 or a week 7 scenario than he would be straight out the gate. I think he just needs a little bit of time, but man, this dude's potential is through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, gets low, engages well. He uses that double team to his advantage. And I mean, anytime you can get a guy 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage like that, that's a big win. So yeah, I was happy with this one too. And yeah, it's a double team. They're supposed to be pushing that side pretty hard. And good defensive play call on the weak side blitz to blow the play up. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that one. Not much to complain about there. So.
All right, then we'll move on to play 9 here, and it's another recovery on these inside moves. But this one, this has to take the cake, in my opinion, for best rep out of the tape that we've shown today, because it's a mix of awareness, it's a mix of athleticism, mobility. It's everything you want to see. He sees the inside move. He sets up outside, sees the inside moves, pushes him inside with the momentum, as you say, identifies the stunt, and quickly recovers to get to that stunting player on the outside. And there's just no chance a defensive tackle is getting around his outside shoulder. If you think, like, we've already said that we don't think edge rushers can even get around that outside shoulder.
Right.
There's no chance of stunting defensive tackles getting around. So would I like to see him get a little bit faster with it? Yes, because he's going to need to get faster with his footwork, more precise and concise with that footwork at the next level. But this is so inspiring to see. This is such a great rep because it shows all the difficulties that can be thrown at you at the next level. Like, that's how defensive fronts are attacking offensive lines on the next level, and he deals with this so smoothly.
Yeah, this was a great rep. And this is an NFL rep right here. This is NFL level stuff where, he's identifying, he's got my inside shoulder. He knows he's got a little bit of help there, pushes that into the help. And then he realizes that it's a stunt. And then he gets back outside and takes that guy outside. Not the best acceleration from big man in the middle there. But the recognition is really good. And this, like you said, it's putting it all together here where he's covering the inside and making sure that he's good on the inside, pushes it into the help, and then he recognizes that it's a stunt play and the athleticism to get to the outside. I really like this play. I think this is kind of a this is what you can get out of him type of a play. This is and that kind of thing reminds me of Quentin Nelson when he's running around and throwing guys all over the place. Yeah, I'm going to throw you over here. Oh, you want to come to the outside now? I'm going to throw you over here. So I was really happy with that play to kind of see this was one of those potential plays where it's like, yeah, this is what this guy can be.
Yeah. So you hear that cash out, BF Casey, you better get excited because this is your baby number 2. I know you just had 1, but this is baby number 2.
Yeah, Pierre too. When I was talking, making my notes, I'm just thinking about how bad I'm gonna get chewed out by Pierre and Casey on this one. So here's a good play for you guys. This is what he can do.
No, it's definitely a little bit of both. I definitely think this is a good one to bring them back down to earth to understand, like, this dude still has stuff to learn, but boy, like, I totally understand why they're excited. Like, we should all be excited for what this dude can become. He needs some time. He needs some time. It might not even take the entire season. Like, he could be ready to start middle of the season this year. We just already have capable starters at tackle, so there's no need. So it's nice that we kind of have that luxury pick.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what makes this a good pick, because he's not ready to play right now. If we didn't have 2 tackles that could play good football at the moment, I would say this is a questionable pick, just because he's not ready to play right now. But because you have the ability to let him develop behind those 2 guys, I think it's a great pick, and to allow him to really learn his craft and turn into the player that he can be.
100%. So I'll finish up here with the last play of this James Madison game. And it was just another solid pass rep. He gets some initial depth to the outside. No worries. I'll
technical difficulties. Give me 1 second.
No worries. I'll just explain while we're fumbling around. Anyways, he gets some initial depth instead of like immediately getting to that outside, which I've complained about so much already. And he kind of allows that pass rusher to get outside, and he just uses his mobility to recover. He's instead of just like getting outside immediately going to his right shoulder, he's getting a little bit more depth, and that just allows him to stay neutral in his positioning, which I've been preaching this whole time. It's another like wide-ish alignment, somewhere between 7 and 9 from the defensive end. And yeah, his positioning is going to keep him sturdy in his play. In my opinion, his athleticism is what sets him apart. So all he needs to do is have good positioning, and he's going to be able to make any play, make any block that he has to, because he's just that athletic. If he's in the right spot, he'll be able to recover. And this is, I don't want to say this is the best play to prove it, but this is just a solid rep.
Yeah, I really like this one. Honestly, there's so many good things about it. He gets a little bit of a head fake to the inside, so he's covering the inside here and making sure that that's sealed. When he goes to the outside, he's got great leverage, great hips, and he's hand fighting the whole time with him. He's making sure that the guy's not getting his hands in a place where he can get any leverage. I just really like this rep. He really puts. This is a very technically sound rep, all the way through from footwork all the way up to the hands. I was very pleased with this one. I think this is up there with some of the top reps that we saw today. So yeah, if he can put it together and do this on a more frequent basis, then we got somebody here.
Yeah, consistency is definitely the name of the game.
Yeah.
So we'll move on now to really our review, and I'll address some things just from the comments section initially. I see Dawn's got some questions, really asking, is there any tape of him recently? Really everything that we have is just from 2019. Like, surprisingly, there's actually a lot of tape on YouTube for University of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Actually, in my internship with Sports Info Solutions, the first game I was assigned to record the stats for was like a triple overtime game between Iowa State and University of Northern Iowa.
I almost watched that one.
I was dying to get it, but YouTube only has like the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter and then the triple overtime.
Yeah,
I really wanted that full game. I remember that game when I was charting it up for Sports Info Solutions. It was a great game. I really wish I could have gotten it and like even known who Spencer Brown was like 2 years ago when I was charting that game. Yeah. But no, Don, really, like, you could probably go on Twitter and find some of the things that he did with Joe Staley. But like, it's just him doing reps against air or like reps against Joe Staley himself. Like, it's nothing like crazy exciting, but the best you'll get in terms of more tape, it's really all on YouTube. Like, you and I they had like all of their games somehow are on YouTube. So
yeah,
definitely surprised by that, but I like that.
Yeah, me too. That's always the hardest part when we're talking college is how am I going to get a hold of this guy's film? But it was very easy with this one, which is why I even went back and I watched another game because I was curious to know more. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go do it then. But yeah, I don't know honestly if there's anything on social media about it though, about him working out with Joe Staley, but yeah, I think it'll be kind of cool to see if anything changes from here until preseason, if we see any improvements. So that'll be exciting.
So with training camp like almost set to start, I think we're like 3 days away from vets their deadline to report for camp. And Dawn says Judge has really got me thinking about him at tight end 3. And I think this has been overblown just a little bit. Joe Marino, I believe, really planted the seed for this idea. And I think it's a great idea, but I don't think there's a chance in hell the Bills keep only 2 tight ends and then Spencer Brown or like even Tommy Doyle is their 3rd tight end. I think it's way more likely the Bills keep 3 tight ends and Spencer Brown is the 4th tight end. And even then it's a stretch. But I do, like you even said it earlier in this, there's a chance that, you know, the Bills want to run like a 6 offensive lineman package, a big package, heavy package on the goal lines. And he could be a eligible receiver on those plays, but it's few and far between. Like it could happen 5 to 10 times tops throughout the season this year.
Yeah, I would like to see it though. You know, if I was Brian Daboll, and he likes to use his weapons creatively, and the way that we saw him use wide receivers, you know, even Gabe Davis, the way that he used him in the inside as a blocker, I think we can probably see some cool stuff out of Spencer Brown because he's so unique in what he's able to do. And right now, I would say he can block at about the level of an NFL, a good blocking NFL tight end. He's probably at about that level. Maybe not even so much as Lee Smith at this point. Maybe he's on par with him as far as blocking goes, but I still think he does have a decent amount to learn. But hey, I have mentioned before that I would love to see the guy at tight end. If he is eligible every time he's on the field, I'll be happy because then he's just always a threat. So, you know, slapping 80s number on him and make him eligible because, you know, can we do that at tackle?
I think he's one. I think he's 1 away. I'm pretty sure he's 79, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. Give him an 80s number, man. I would love to see him out there just always being able to make a play. I don't think the NFL would be very happy about that whole numbers situation though. But yeah, you know, what can you do?
You do what you can.
Right. Let's see. Chris S did a really good job in this comment to kind of summarize the stuff that we've gone through here. Use the defensive end's momentum. That's something that he definitely needs to learn on. If the guy wants to go upfield, take him upfield. You know, that's lesson number 1. Darrell Williams does that so well. Deion Dawkins will throw you upfield.
Yeah, he does.
So that's something that I think he's got guys ahead of him that will drill that into his brain, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, play to the whistle. You got to make sure that, you know, Josh Allen will extend a play. He'll run around in the pocket for as long as he can until he's got to get rid of it. So he's got to always be ready to block someone that's in front of him. And if his guy's leaving, it's probably because Josh Allen's running around and trying to, and then that guy's just trying to chase him, like you mentioned with those defensive ends are reading the quarterback. And then, the getting beat inside, it's a real issue. I think that's his biggest problem that he needs to work on, just because those are the plays that are that really stuck out the most, where it was, you know, when you see it right away and everyone knows that was just not good. So I really want to see him work on that and get that first step. I think his first step really is probably the biggest issue, where he's instantly just going outside, like jumping outside. If he can get that nice first step with the left foot to the inside, or at least straight back, or depending on how he's trying to block, I think that will help him out a lot in kind of setting his base and not giving up that inside quite as much. So
100%.
Yeah. Any other comments on that?
I did want to put this up from Barbarius Sloth. That is true. He did go to the Senior Bowl, and I do know that he was like slightly below average at the Senior Bowl. Like he wasn't quite as exciting at the Senior Bowl. But there is more than enough YouTube clips of the Senior Bowl. Like you could find the entire game itself. You can find, I'm pretty sure you can find all the ESPN broadcast coverages of like each individual practice from that week at the Senior Bowl. And then there's a lot of like one-on-one reps from like various YouTube accounts on the Senior Bowl itself. So yeah, if you want to find Spencer Brown's like most recent stuff, I guess that would be the answer for that. For Dawn specifically. So yeah, thank you, Barbarius Sloth, for coming in with that answer. But yeah, for anyone else that didn't see that in the chat, yeah, that's definitely where you can find a lot more of Spencer Brown's most recent reps.
Yeah. Senior Bowl, I didn't watch it. I kind of want to now to see how he plays against better competition and see how that went for him. So maybe I'll try to look that up and see what I can find there. But when does training camp preseason start? We're almost there. It's next week, right?
It's nuts. It's nuts. I'm so happy though. Yeah, I mean, training camp. I mean, I know that the vets have to report on the 27th. That's their day to report. But I don't know. It's specifically like when the actual practices start. Preseason isn't like the first game, like the first week of August or something like that.
That sounds about right to me. First week.
I guess we should do some housekeeping here and let the people know that we're gonna be pretty busy these coming weekends. So what we're gonna try to do moving forward, what you guys should do really is tweet at us with players that you want us to cover specifically. And we're probably going to do a lot more pre-recorded stuff versus live stuff because we're both going to be very busy for the upcoming month of August itself. But what we want to do specifically is review the tape from the preseason games because obviously we're all like very excited about these camp battles and who's going to make the final 53-man roster. So we can give you like little plays here and there, not necessarily focusing on specific players, but looking at the game as a whole and then looking at a play within the game and being like, oh, okay, this was a great rep from Tyrell Dodson. Maybe this is why he makes the team. This is a great rep from Tariq Thompson. Like players that, you know, we're not necessarily going to do an entire film session on, but it helps show the depth players at each position. And we'll go through each game and review each game that way. But if there are specific players, that you do want us to cover before the season gets into full swing, we can definitely do some pre-recorded stuff together. We'll work out timing amongst each other and we'll get some pre-recorded stuff out there and we'll put it up on the YouTube for you guys. So definitely if you have anything that you want to send our way in terms of player recommendations that you want us to cover for film stuff, we can definitely go about that for you guys for sure.
Yeah, and I am so excited that real football is going to be back.
Oh
and
my God.
we have new film that we can look at. We don't have to look at stuff from 2 years ago and, you know, and worry about all the old stuff. We can finally start breaking down the live stuff. So I'm excited. We're going to have a new format for when live games are back and when we're looking at new film. So I'm excited about that. And hopefully you guys like that as well. But yeah, I'm going to the training camp on Saturday, week from today, nice. Saturday morning day. So that'll be fun. I don't know if anyone else is in Buffalo. I'm pretty sure you can get those tickets for free online. It's just general admission tickets if you go onto the Bills website. So if you're in the Buffalo area and you want to go, I know that we're not in St. John Fisher this year, but you can still. I think there's at least a few open sessions that you're able to attend. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I'm just insanely excited to stop watching old film.
I know. Same. I'll have to vicariously watch a lot of it through Twitter, unfortunately, but you know, I'll take what I can get at this point.
Right.
It's a lot of 2020 and 2019 films. So yeah, I'm excited for it to roll around for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do a Tyler Bass, although, you know, I'm sure we could break down, you know, the velocity of his leg and all that stuff, and that would be fun. But I do like me some Tyler Bass, but yeah. Well, yeah, unless you got anything else to say here about Spencer Brown before we close this out.
Nah, man, just excited for the prospects of what he can become. There's a lot of potential there. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do in training camp. Yeah, just excited for training camp, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too. We're going to get some good battles going. Hopefully there's stuff that we can talk about that gets you guys excited. But for those of you that were here, thank you so much. For those of you who stayed start to finish, we appreciate that so much. And to those watching on the replay, thank you for watching as well. And thank you for making it all the way to the end here. So are you back next week as well? I can't remember what days that we have off.
Oh God, I don't even know. Yeah, I'd have to
we
pull
might
it
be
all
back
up on my
next
phone.
week. Maybe we'll do something pre-recorded. We'll see what happens. But regardless, thank you guys for sticking around and for talking with us a little bit in the comments section. But other than that, go Bills.
Go Bills.